Hey booktube, it's Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I am here today to do not one, but two book-related tags. One is the Reading Pet Peeves tag, created by Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. I was tagged by Aaron Facer. And the second one is the Book Snob Tag, created by Tia at All the Books. And I was tagged by Whitney at Tabara's Den. And I want to tag both of those people in the other tag. So Aaron, I'm tagging you for the Book Snob Tag, and Whitney, I'm tagging you for the Reading Pet Peeves tag. And then I'd also like to tag for either or both of these tags, Gina at Genius Stand Your Books, Tammy at My Bookshelf. Tammy, I'm not sure if you do tags or not, but I just wanted to invite you to this. Jim at Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff, and Lisa in Bookland once you get back from your travels, of course. All right, so let's get into the questions. We're going to start with the Reading Pet Peeves tag. Question 1, do you use or read along with audiobooks? No, audiobooks and I, we just don't work together. I sometimes have to read a paragraph 4 times before I really understand it. And yeah, I can't get back to that place. I can't do that with audiobooks. It just doesn't work very well. So yeah, I really need to be able to see the text on the page. Question 2, do you utilize your local library? I do, but not nearly as much as I used to for a whole variety of reasons, but once in a while it is necessary to check something out from the library. So yeah, I do use it, but I've also realized, I have a home personal library of more than 1,000 books. So, like, why don't I just read those books, right? Okay. Question 3, do you DNF books? I try really hard not to. I can't actually remember the last book I DNF. If I open a book, I'm pretty determined to make it all the way through it. Question 4, do you read multiple books at the same time? Oh God, I wish I could read multiple books at the same time. That would make life so much easier. Like right now, I'm reading Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, but wouldn't I also love to be reading Dr. Thorne by Anthony Trollope at the same time? Both books, like that would be so great. But alas, like I don't know how I'm gonna I'm gonna get through both of these in October, but I'll try it. I actually do better when it's maybe like a different format. So maybe when I'm reading like a nonfiction book and a novel, yeah, that might be a little bit easier to read at the same time. But I think Aaron Facer said that during lockdown, at one point he was reading 8 books at the same time. So very, very impressive, Aaron. Question 5, do you make time or have a specific time in your day devoted to reading? So my health is my number 1 priority, which means I have to get a lot of sleep and I have to exercise every single day. And so that is where I'm really looking for time, to get that done, and taken care of. So I look for windows of opportunity. Here comes Blue. So you might see a tail. There's the tail. Anyway, but yeah, so Jason has a film club on Wednesday night, and lots of times I will use that time for reading, because he watches the film and then there's a discussion on Zoom. It's a super cool group of people, and I really like to talk to them. I'm not always interested in the movies that they're watching, but that's an opportunity. Saturday, Jason was supposed to go fishing. I was like, had all these plans, all these things I thought I could get done, and the weather was too bad to go fishing. So, yeah, it was just, yeah, so I lost that window of time, but I'm always kind of looking for those opportunities when I can spend some more time reading. Question 6, do you dog ear books? No, Jason does, which really bothers me. Really, really bothers me. Question 7, do you annotate your books? No. fortunately Jason doesn't either. So yeah, I can't, I don't know, it just feels, it feels very wrong to write in a book. Question 8, how do you feel about spoilers? So I've thought a lot about this because there have been so many spoiler related questions just since joining booktube, but I really read most books blind. Like Dr. Thorne, I have not read the back of this book. I have complete faith in Anthony Trollope, and so yeah, I'm not going to read the back. I'm not going to read the introduction. Yeah, I've even had spoilers in like footnotes sometimes, which just makes me crazy. The one thing that I feel like can be spoiled for me completely is Shakespeare, because knowing where the play is going as I'm reading it, knowing where the play is going as I'm reading just really seems to kind of help me get through that, and you know, knowing what the outcome is sometimes can make a big difference in reading Shakespeare. So I'd say that's the one thing I'm okay with spoilers, but the rest of them, definitely not. All right, the Book Snob Tag. Question number 1, adaptation snob. Do you always read the book before you see the movie? Man, I would love it if I could always read the book before I saw the movie. I try really hard, but you know, sometimes it's just not possible. And sometimes watching a film or a miniseries, it is what inspires me to read the book. So yeah, I've had that. I was thinking about that, and I realized I watched a miniseries of Jane Eyre before I read the book, the one with Ruth Wilson and Toby Stephens, which is excellent. And I realized that did spoil the book for me, but nonetheless, like, it made me so excited to read Jane Eyre. Question 2, format snob. You can only choose one format in which to read books for the rest of your life. It's very dramatic. Which do you choose? Physical books, ebooks, or audiobooks? Well, we've already talked about audiobooks, and you know, I don't have an e-reader. I don't read books on my iPad, so I really like holding something. I really like the physical book. I think eventually I'm gonna have to get an e-reader just because for eyesight reasons, to be able to enlarge the font, but I'm gonna wait until that moment comes, and in the meantime I'm gonna stick with physical books. Question 3, ship snob, and I guess this must mean like courtship. So ship snob, would you date or marry a non-reader? Okay, guys, I know people. I've been married for 16 years. I know people who are married to non-readers, or readers who are married to non-readers, and I know readers who are married to readers, and that is by no means an indicator of success of that relationship. So, yeah, my advice would be to marry someone who also is your friend. I try not to give advice, like marital advice or personal like life advice on my channel, but in my experience, I mean, I have known my husband since 1999. And yeah, we were friends for years before I fell in love with him. So yeah, we had coffee together, we went to the movies together. I had extra tickets to a concert that Jason was at. Jason's way up in the balcony, so I like flag him down and tell him like, come down and take these, you know, bring your friends and take these seats, because nobody's gonna take them. I have the tickets for them. Yeah, and so it's cool now to realize that yeah, like we got to see that concert together, even though I was there with someone else. Question 4, genre snob. You have to ditch one genre never to be read again for the rest of your life. Which one do you ditch? Okay, I really struggled with this because I don't read much in the way of horror. I don't read a whole lot of science fiction or fantasy. And when I was younger, I read a lot of romance. And over time, I've really been able to see how, a romance could be weaved into a story that's about something much bigger. So there's a part of me that wants to say romance just because I read so much at an early age, and that doesn't have to be, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good love story, but I don't know that I necessarily have to have that, because there's so many other books that weave that in as part of the overall story. So that's probably what I would let go of. But that's a tough one. That's a really tough question. Okay. Question 5, uber genre snob. You can only read one genre for the rest of your life. Which genre do you choose? I don't know if this is a genre or not, but I choose classics. That's what I want to read for the rest of my life. So yeah, if that's the only thing I can read, that's what I want to read. Books that have stood the test of time. So question 6, community snob. Which genre do you think receives the most snobbery from the bookish community? And I mean, honestly, I don't know. Because there are horror, people who are focused on horror. There are people who read lots of science fiction and fantasy. There are people who, there are just so many different pockets of booktube. And lots of times I want to say I only watch a channel if I like the books that person's reading, but that's really not true. That's really not the case if I really like the booktuber. And there are certain events where I am much more keyed into a channel because they're a host or because they do a lot of cool content for that particular booktube event. And so I may just only watch them for 1 month or 2 months a year. But yeah, so I think we're pretty, I think Whitney maybe said middle grade books. I think maybe she said that for this one, but then I think of middle grade March, and then of course there are the big YA booktubers, but I don't know, it doesn't bother me if I see someone reading a YA book in the midst of a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. So I don't have a good answer to that question. Okay, question 7, snobbery recipient. This will be worth waiting for. Have you ever been snubbed for something that you have been reading or reading in general? My God, yes. So earlier this year, I think it was the contradictions tag. I'll link to it down below. And I was please remain calm. And everyone was just laughing at me and teasing me about oh, Kelly, we would never judge you for books you didn't like or things like that. And I'm well, that hasn't necessarily historically been true in the last 4 years. And part of it is there are books that, man, people are, so Middlemarch, for instance, Kim changed the name of her channel to Middle of the Bookmarch because she loves George Eliot and Middlemarch so much. She changed her channel name. And Middlemarch, oh man, you couldn't pay me $1,000 to read that book again. But it's fine that other people love it. I don't have, I'm okay with that. The other one, oh man, Wives and Daughters. I love Elizabeth Gaskell. But Wives and Daughters, oh, that heroine, milquetoast heroine. To say nothing of the fact that that book has no ending, which I hope people know. Like, I think if I had known that going into it, it wouldn't have been such a shock. But I mean, the book just stops. So, yeah. So those of you who are reading those for Victober, you know, again, enjoy. I hope you like it. But I have definitely heard from people who are very devoted to books like that, and yeah, I haven't been too happy when I haven't enjoyed them. But that's, like, again, it's fine. It's totally fine. So I would love to hear your answers to these questions in the comment section down below. Or if you're new to my channel, just say hi. Just like a little waving emoji, something like that, to let me know you're here. There were so many people that I really wanted to hear their answers for these questions and who don't have a channel. So I would love to hear your answers, again, down below in the comment section if you don't have a booktube channel as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Booktube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll be back with another bookish video soon. Bye.